Nice of you to drop in.
Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer. Today I'm going to be counting down my top 5 favorite Superman fights of all time. Now I already did my top 5 favorite Deathstroke fights, so you can check that out on my channel. Now for these fights I only did Superman versus villain fights, because Superman has had a lot of cool fights with different DCU heroes, but I just wanted to do Superman versus villains. So without further ado, number 5. Now number 5 is Superman vs. Wraith in Superman Unchained issue 8. Now this was a very good fight and a bright spot in an otherwise just okay storyline. Superman Unchained wasn't that great, but this really was amazing. This fight was fantastic. The art is done by Jim Lee and it's written by Scott Snyder. Now Jim Lee is one of my favorite artists and he does great with this. He's always does a great Superman. And him just fighting Wraith is so cool. This fight takes place all around the globe. It's awesome. It starts in the Gobi Desert, and then it goes to the Himalayas, and then from there it goes to space, and then from there it goes straight into the core of the Earth. And it's awesome. This whole time, Superman's just thinking in his head, how am I going to beat this guy? Because Wraith was a character that Scott Snyder specifically designed to be Superman, but better. Because Superman, when he's fighting, he's faster, he's stronger. He's just Superman, but better is the whole thing. So the only difference is the mind. And Superman, this whole fight, is thinking, how would Diana do it? How would Bruce do it? How would they take him down? They do it like this, they do it like this. And so he's trying to fight like them, but then he realizes that doesn't really work for him. So he has to fight like himself. So he takes him down into the core of the Earth, and what this does is Wraith has a bunch of energy manipulating powers. This just changes it to where, as Superman says in the book, down here neither of us has anything but our strength, our speed, and our wits. So yeah, it's just down to Superman versus him. And Superman, it's really cool what he does with his cape too, because I always thought with the cape looks cool, but it's really impractical and stupid. He takes a cape and he uses it in a smart way to fight Wraith, and it's really cool. And he ends up beating the living tar out of Wraith, and it's awesome how he does it. And the fight isn't just like punchy like bam. It's a bit more of a tactical fight, which is really cool to see from Superman, and I loved it. It was an awesome fight. My favorite Superman fight from the New 52. Number 4 is Superman versus Mongol, Bizarro, Jailer, and Silver Banshee. Now this is in the Superman ending battle storyline, which is one of my favorite Superman storylines, and it's awesome. What happens is Manchester Black has like all these different villains going after Superman throughout the entire book, and it's just Superman is constantly being attacked, and it's awesome, and this is the best fight within the book. You really get to see, like I said before with Superman Unchained, you get to see a tactical Superman, and it's really awesome. We see Superman strategically take everyone out. What he does is he intentionally gets knocked into space by Bizarro, and then he comes back back to Earth, into a place where the sun is strongest in a tropical island where there's really strong tropical sun. And what he does is he's fighting them, and then they think they have him beat because they have a trap. They have this island that the Master Jailer has done all this condensed sand and stuff that's holding Superman. That every time Superman punches the sand, it just rebuilds itself. Like it's hard condensed sand, so he can't get out of it. And on top of that, he put kryptonite all throughout the island. So there is kryptonite right there, and Superman has no energy. So what he does is he sends one single blast of heat vision into space, because earlier in the book what he had done is he used his freeze breath on Neutron. Neutron is a being that is completely nuclear energy. He's just in like a containment suit, and Superman punched him into space because he doesn't need to breathe. And what Superman did was, on the island, he sent his heat vision up, knocked Neutron out of orbit, and it came back down and just exploded and knocked everyone out, and sent Bizarro running, and that's how he beat all of them. It was just a really cool fight. It was awesome. There's a lot of cool fights in the book itself, but that was my favorite. It was so cool to see. Number 3 is Superman vs. Darkseid in Superman vs. Darkseid Apocalypse Now. It's just a single issue, and it's an awesome issue. What happens is John Henry Irons, aka Steel, his soul has been trapped inside this super weapon, and so Superman goes to Apocalypse, which is where this John Henry Irons' super weapon is, and he challenges Darkseid to single combat, and he says, if I beat you, I get John Henry Iron's soul. If you beat me, you get my life. And so Darkseid accepts, and they fight and they have this epic battle. It's really a bare bones battle, just a bunch of punches being thrown, and it's awesome. And then, you know, Darkseid results to his Omega effect, and Superman ends up speeding fast the Omega effect and making the Omega effect hit Darkseid, and then beats his face in so that he's blind. He swells his face up so much that Darkseid cannot see, and that's when Darkseid says, you know, you've defeated me. And when Superman says he wants John Henry Iron's soul back, Darkseid thought that he had an ulterior motive, and when he beats him, Superman just says, okay, give me John Henry Iron's soul back, and he says, you could be leader of Apocalypse, you just beat me, why do you want this peasant's soul back? And Superman's just like, read it and weep. It's basically saying, because I'm better than you, I'm not a piece of garbage like you are. And it was just a really, really awesome bare bones fight, just punching each other, and it's awesome. Number 2 is Superman vs. Zod. Now this is in the Harvest storyline, and what happened was Zod had taken over the world, and he had defeated all the world's heroes. He even thought he had killed Superman. He came very close to doing so, and this fight takes place under a red sun. But Zod has his powers, and what Superman does is he gets a villain from the Elite to shoot him up with solar energy, because they're now working together with a common goal, and so he's able to fight Zod. Now this fight is also going on while there's this big battle in the background, because there's Zod's forces versus Superman's forces, and it's awesome. It is really, really cool, and it adds to such an epic atmosphere. Also a big factor is Zod is now wearing Superman's face. Zod has taken Superman's face because, well, you know, Superman still has his face, but you know what I mean. Zod has mimicked Superman's face, so now he's got this new thing about him. He just thinks that, he even says it during the fight. He says, you know, Superman, without you, I would not be created. We're brothers in blood. How can you fight me? You know, we're the same. And Superman's just, no, we're not. It's a really epic battle. It's really bloody. It's a really bloody, brutal battle, which is one of the things I really love when Superman and Zod fight each other, because generally when Superman fights people, there's not a whole lot of blood. When Superman and Zod fight each other, there's blood flying everywhere, and it's really different for a Superman fight, and it's awesome. They're just fighting. Every time they hit, blood comes out. It's really cool to see. Now, this fight ends very Man of Steel-esque. What happens is Superman has his hands around Zod's jaw, and what he does is, Zod says, do it or I'll kill us all. Superman snaps his neck. It appears he does, but what turns out, he says, a fraction more pressure and your neck would have snapped. He turned it as much as he could until it would have, you know, before it snapped. So Zod's still alive. He's just got a very screwed up neck, and Zod's mad at him for this, and Superman just says, you know, this is a key difference between you and I'm not going to kill you. And so Superman's walking away. Zod flies straight into Superman, because Superman, you know, the sun's come back because of Lex Luthor, who's like restored the sun. Zod flies straight into Superman and breaks his own neck, because, you know, he's flying into someone who's invulnerable, and just breaks his neck, and it's really brutal. But this fight was awesome. So yeah, that's why it's at number 2. Number 1. Now, a lot of you guys probably saw this coming. This is Superman versus Doomsday and the death of Superman. This fight is just epic in every sense of the word. It is so awesome. It's a fantastic fight. And what happens is Superman is fighting after Doomsday like takes out B-Team Justice League, just destroys him without any effort. Superman is fighting Doomsday, and this whole time he's just pounding on him and cannot find a weakness. Like, he's pushing him, he's punching him through buildings and everything, and just Doomsday just shrugging it off like it's nothing. And also this whole time, so he's having to deal with civilians. He's having to like have these people that's yelling Superman help, and you can't exactly ignore that. So he's having to like punch Doomsday up, run, fly, try to help those people, and then get to Doomsday before he lands and before he causes more destruction, because this is a very different type of villain for Superman. Superman generally has a villain that has some type of goal in mind. Their goal is like take over, kill Superman, something like that. This guy is not focused specifically on Superman. Doomsday's whole goal is to cause the Doomsday. His whole goal is to destroy everything, just cause carnage and chaos everywhere, destroy everything in his sight. That is the whole purpose of Doomsday. And so during this fight, when Superman leaves him, you know, he has to worry about the carnage he's going to cause, and he fights him, and then in the end, he realizes that the bones on the outside of him are just an extension of the bones on the inside, so he's able to break them, and they're fighting, and it ends in one giant epic punch, and there are no winners in the end. They both end up dead, even though later we find out Superman was he was in a state that mimicked death. He didn't actually die, which is just it's comics, but the fight, like the ending, was so epic with him dying in Lois's arms, and the last thing he asks is, is Doomsday dead? He says, Doomsday, is he? And then that's his last words, and Lois tells him, yeah, you saved everyone, and he had to kill this threat because there's no other way to deal with him. He is not like everyone else. He's just a savage beast, and it was really such an awesome, epic fight, just amazing, and it was so good. And how it ended with there are no winners, just two losers, because they both died, but at least Superman was able to save his city, and it was the death of the most iconic superhero of all time. It was such a big impact of the death of Superman. So yeah, those are my top 5 favorite Superman fights of all time. Please let me know your guys' top 5 Superman fights in the comments below. And again, I did do a top 5 Deathstroke fight, so you can check that out as well. And next, I'm thinking about doing top 5 Batman fights. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.
Sorry for the wait, I've been working hella hard. Time spent with friends is now time spent writing bars. So I lock myself away until I'm sad and just like yay, I'm shutting off, and so I'm dancing.